Hi friends, I have the honor and pleasure of having with me Rank 3 November 2017 AIIMS Dr. Shubham Agarwal. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
And
having me here.
and I would also like to remind you of a memory from 2016 where he was the winner of All India National Quiz, medical quiz that we do grey matter, and he along with Umang, and I'm sure he'll do well as well in the next year exam. He was
Thank
the
you.
winner of our final nationwide round in the entire country. Their team came first, and we already I told him at that day also that you will do very well. He
Thank
is
you, sir.
one of the, I think, most intelligent graduates of this era, and I'm one of the very intelligent boy. I'm sure we all will benefit a lot from listening to him in this interview. He has been a student of DAMS over last 3 years, and I'm sure his journey with DAMS, we will be able to share through this video. And Shubham, how was your journey with DAMS? Do you recall any teachers at this moment?
So it was an amazing journey, and I recall mostly I recall say your class. It was an amazing class, and I just admire your energy. So I remember you running around, running to every student, asking questions, and teaching in such an enthusiastic and energetic way. And I also loved Dr. Deepti's class and Dr. Tushar sir's class. These are the ones which I remember most fondly, sir.
Thank you. And I'm sure the teachers listening to you today will also feel validated, because when a topper like you talks about the teachers, they feel very proud. And do you also want to mention your parents and family here at this moment?
Yes. So I would like to thank my parents, my family, and my friends watching back in AIMS, and everyone who has always supported me through these years. I would really like to thank them all, and I would like to thank DAMS first of all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you were also telling me that you in particularly that DBT session and the slides in DBT were of
Yes,
particular
sir.
use to you for revising the image-based questions at that time.
So I feel nowadays that the AIMS pattern, which has changed to more of image based and having more and more of updates and more practical things, have seeing DVT slides in the end and various other updates on the Facebook page actually helps a lot. And it was very easy to revise all the slides on the app. It just takes a few minutes and then you are done with your subject. Same goes for the Facebook page. I keep saving all the important posts for the end, and it was really a big help.
Any particular
Yeah.
teachers you remember from the Facebook group who were very active?
I love Dr. Diksha's posts. She makes very colorful posts which just stand out and you just remember them. And I love Dr. Khandelwal's
Summaries,
updates.
yes,
Yes, they has his summaries
yes.
and his images also.
And I think even Dr. Surya and
Dr.
my
Surya's,
micro
yes,
team
yes, yes.
is our very
Yes,
active on Facebook
definitely,
group to
definitely.
create, because I think all these visual sciences like
Hmm.
microbiology, pathology, you have to look at them again and again.
Definitely.
Like for example, I become a radiologist not because I've seen it once. I've seen it many
Hmm.
times. So I learn. So I also, a student cannot learn how to look at pneumothorax by looking at once. So we keep
Definitely.
sharing it again and
Yes,
again,
yes.
so that is, engraved in his mind. I also want to, use this opportunity to ask you to relive your experience in the grey matter quiz with the viewers, because sometimes I feel,
Hmm.
that is one of the endeavors that we do, where we do a nationwide quiz
Agreed,
and
sir.
we do finalists, and the finalists from all zones, then they play in the final
Hmm.
round, and you were a winner yourself. So how was your
Yes.
experience with that quiz?
So it was a great experience. I just loved how the quiz was made. Especially the first round was an anatomy round where you had asked anatomy questions with rhetorical images.
I remember.
Yes,
I
yes, that
remember.
was a wonderful round.
Yes.
Yes, and it was a great experience overall. I watched the quiz this year also. I was
Yes.
expecting a lot of questions, important questions could be asked, especially in PSM. I liked the questions which sir had made, Dr.
This
Siddharth.
this
Yeah.
year we had actually changed the theme to the calculation theme.
Yes, yes.
Because
Physiology and
physiology
PSM,
is
yes, I solved
calculation theme.
those.
Yes.
Yes.
Because what happens is people who are coming to play in the finals, they have seen the last year's round, so
Yes,
we
sir.
want to surprise them by adding something, some twist every time. So it's
Of
good
course.
to have you back, and probably that validates the process as well. That once we do a nationwide quiz and he came out to be the North Zone winner, and then he in all four zones, and their team again won.
Yes.
So probably that validates the selection process for the quiz as well. So that makes me very proud, and I'm very happy to have him today in the studio and to discuss with him.
Thank
And
you so much.
yeah, Shubham, I also want to know from you about we were discussing about the exam taking strategy. Because what has happened is that many people who are good, not all become toppers. And you must
Agreed,
have
sir.
experienced this in your own life as well, and you must have seen other people perform as well. So, what is it that you do in the exam which is different from others? Like, I'll ask you, how many questions did you attempt in this AIMS?
Sir, I attempted 191 questions.
191.
Yes. And I would like to add that AIMS exam is a very unique exam. It is not testing your knowledge in the past, what you have studied in the past 2 months or a year. It is actually testing what you have done in the past 5.5 years. Not just what you have studied, but what you have experienced, your mindset, your way of thinking. That is what it tests. It is a very practical exam, and everyone has seen the questions, which were very practical, and there were questions which could be solved if you have attended your ward rounds properly, if you have been active, proactive throughout your MBBS. And apart from that, I would like to add that uh, throughout the year, you have to study a lot of things which are basic and practical, and you encounter throughout in your internship. And then, of course, revision is
They all
important.
form your subconscious,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
you never know what will come
They
out in
keep
the
adding to
exam.
your subconscious, and anything you might have seen or read 4 years, 5 years back might suddenly be asked. And most important is that while you're taking the exam, it is very important that you be cool and calm. There might be things which you might not have read recently but read years back. You might just recollect them, and there might be questions which appear to be easy but actually they are pseudo easy. The options are tricky, and they actually trick you into marking the wrong answer. So they appear to be easy, and you sometimes you even don't read all the four options. You read one or two options, you just confidently mark, and you realize later that you're wrong. So it is very important you eliminate every option and then mark the one you feel is most appropriate. I realize it is a very lengthy exam. I could not revise properly, but I gave my time, sufficient time to each and every question.
So I think like a lot of people when they start the paper, they are in so much hurry, they mark everything for review, and in the end, there's
Agreed.
no time for review.
Yes, yes, that is also very important. We should not mark a lot of questions for review. You should mark an appropriate. I marked around 15 to 16 questions for review. I was planning to revise the whole paper, but at least I was happy I could revise the ones for review, an additional 80, 90 more questions. And it is very important that you attempt at least 185 questions at least, and for a good rank, at least 190. Not to overattempt, but 190 is a very safe spot. Yeah.
And I also want to know, like a lot of people would say that you have done it with your internship, and you were telling me that you had a very busy internship posting in this time. So
Yes, sir.
like I also would want you to tell other people that like sometimes some people they give up, they say "Arey, internship is
I
so
agree,
heavy,"
I
and
agree, yeah.
so and you did not give up, and you have actually ended up getting a top 3 rank. So what would you tell to people that they should not make this as an excuse, or what would you tell?
Definitely, sir. This should not be an excuse. I realize, and it is definitely true that revision is important. But if you have not been able to revise, if you have had a very busy posting, busy internship towards the end, it does not mean that you just stop studying, you give up, and you just hope for cracking the exam the next time. You should continue to study as much as you can, and you have to be totally calm, cool, and alert on the day of the exam. That is the most important thing, because there might be questions which no one must have read recently, but everyone must have come across long back. So those are the questions you definitely have to get correct. So it is important that you be cool on the day of the exam. Whatever you may have studied, all that matters is those 3 hours
And
ultimately.
keep the positive enthusiasm with
Definitely,
you, even if
sir.
you encounter a busy posting in the end.
Agreed.
It is like that is luck, but you can't change it. So then you have to plan it in the beginning itself that in the end there will be a busy posting, and you have to push yourself harder at that time and
Definitely.
win. Because winners don't become winners because they have had a easy life. It's not like this. Winners
Agreed,
become
sir.
winner because despite the odds they are able to push it. So that is what
Definitely.
I actually liked about him, that despite the busy posting going on, and in AIMS at this time they have this rural posting is very tough, I think, and he is still able to do a great rank. I think it's laudable, and he is I think I'm very proud of his achievement.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
And
so much.
I would also like to now ask you a personal question that everybody has a trait or something which makes them what they are. You're a high achiever. So what is it in you that you feel other people, if they follow that same thing, they would become a high achiever in anything in life? But like, what is your trait?
So I'll give an example. There's a story from ancient mythology that, not mythology, I'm sorry. There's a story about Socrates. Socrates was once walking along with another man on the banks of a river, and that person asked that what is the secret to success. And Socrates asked that person to go into the river, and after he went, he just pushed that person down into the water, and that person kept struggling and struggling, and finally when that person gave up, he Socrates lifted that person up and asked that what was it that you desperately wanted when you were inside. He was like, to breathe, I wanted oxygen. So that is the secret of success. You have to want success like you wanted oxygen when you were down
Yes.
inside in the waters.
That's actually very beautifully put.
Yes.
Very beautifully put. And I think it's very motivating to hear you speak this thing, because I always believe that it is like success. You have to be hungry for it.
You have to be
if you're
hungry,
not hungry,
yes.
it will not happen.
You have to be
You-
desperate for it. You have to, yes.
Yes. That is the fire that I keep talking about. I'm so
Yes.
happy to hear it from you, and I'm so
Thank you, sir.
glad to hear it from you. I also want you to now, because people listening to you today, some of them would be appearing for the May AIIMS next year. Any subject or topics, subtopics that you feel they should be reading, and because they might be having a pen and paper right now, listening to you, would want to note down the topics that you feel that if you were giving the next AIIMS, which topics you would definitely look at?
So I actually feel that AIIMS is not a very predictable exam, and it is not that we can select certain topics and totally leave others. But what I have personally felt is that microbiology and especially infectious disease is something which is being sought after in AIIMS. They are
Even
asking a lot of questions,
yes.
and I had specifically studied for infectious disease from the manual of Harrison, the small manual we have, and it actually helped me a lot. And whenever I used to read something, I used to see the images also along with it. So that was something that helped me. I kept Harrison and Robbins PDF in my phone. I used to routinely see the images both in Harrison and Robbins, and that actually helps a lot. So seeing images in pathology, microbiology, it helps. And I also used to see images of things which I used to encounter in my OT in anesthesia. Like there were questions on the pre-op checklist, there were questions in spills in OT. So these are the things that you don't actively study for that. Those are things you encounter
And
and you
acquire.
have to acquire, and you have to
Acquire.
realize that it is important at that point of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what I would also add here is, because what I've learned from him here is that he kept that books PDF in his phone, and he could refer back to it. And that is one of the things that I feel is very important for everybody to learn, because sometimes what you feel is that something is, Harrison is a big book, and sometimes you think that, I can't read it cover to cover. Nobody's asking you to do it, but at least when you are encountering something which is, which needs more clarification, you can go back and refer to it. And that will make your concepts
Yes.
much more deeper and clearer. I think that is part of his secret of his success, that he kept referring back to things, and he kept them in ready reference. Again, why I'm saying this is because whenever you have a doubt is always a transient phenomena that happens and then you forget about it. So you sometimes in your internship or housemanship, you may not go back to the hostel in next 24 hours and you
Agreed,
forget
sir.
everything. But he had it in phone and he searched and you could do it. And that is why, one of the reasons that, I ask people to type your doubt in the Facebook group. At least it is archived in the Facebook's memory, and, by the time you get free, the faculty would also have answered. So the idea has to be, as soon as you have a doubt, kill it, either by referring or by asking on the club, but be active. Don't let doubts remain, because those doubts will come as the question in your real exam.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with this, I'll ask you now, the final question of this interview is, you have to speak, although you have already motivated people with your thing, you have to speak one line or maybe a phrase which will stay with people.
So I would like to add one last thing, that if you really want to be successful and do well, I would like to use a phrase which I read from your book, which is fire in the belly. You should have fire in the belly, and that is how you actually push yourself and do well in life. That's all.
I'm so
Thanks.
glad that you used my line here after using the great Socrates line in the previous part of the interview. I'm very glad, I'm honored, and I wish you all the best in life.
Thank
I'm
you so
sure
much.
the country would have a great physician, and I forgot to ask, which branch would you be taking?
Internal medicine. sir.
Internal medicine.
Yes.
So India would have a great internal medicine specialist in future, and I'm sure he will go and rise in China. I'm sure you will hear about him more and more in future, and he is going to be a great physician in the country. I wish
Thank
him
you
all
so
the
much.
best from the entire DAMS family. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.